Hi, welcome back to Practically Social. I'm your host, Zachary George, licensed clinical social worker. Today we're going to be talking about 3 causes of burnout in dating, which are sampling, dabbling, and green grassing grazers. All right, let's get started. The World Health Organization, before the pandemic started, declared a pandemic of their own on loneliness. So if you're suffering from loneliness or problems with dating and you can't seem to figure out what's going on, why you're still single after all this time, don't worry, because you're not alone. There's a lot of people that are experiencing this, and they're experiencing dating burnout for various reasons, but they often don't have any way to contextualize this. They don't have any way to label it. They don't have any way to make it simple with their friends. And also, when they come to me for therapy, there are a lot of things that they end up having to explain that they're very confused about and that they don't really have any answers for. So in today's video, I'd like to talk about 3 of these types of things that I think are occurring when people are dating. The first one is sampling. We can also call sampling, what do I want to say? What can we call sampling? Sampling was the nibbling. So if you think about, if you've ever been fishing and you cast your line out and you sit there and you wait and nothing's happening, but then you see your bobber doing this, you know that there's a fish on the other end of the line, but it hasn't taken the bait yet. And then oftentimes what you'll find is the fish ate all your bait, it nibbled it off, and you sat there and waited, and then by the time you reel it in, there's no bait left. So sampling, when someone's sampling, often feels like they're nibbling, but they're not really engaging with you. And what is going on with a lot of sampling most of the time is people are sampling different groups of people, different cultures. They may have never heard certain kinds of music, and so what they're trying to do is they may be new to dating, they may not have dated in a long time, they may have been in a long-term relationship that was kind of toxic, and so they haven't had a lot of experiences. Then when we get into online dating, they're meeting so many different people all the time that they are sampling with all of them. They're trying to see if they have an additional interest. If they don't have an additional interest, then they just continue to sample. Okay, so if you're experiencing somebody that's not paying a lot of attention to you and it's frustrating you, it could be because most of the people that you're talking to are doing some form of sampling, and we can do sampling ourselves. It's not a bad thing, it's just something that continues to happen, and people don't often understand. It's like, why am I talking to so many people but none of them are connecting to me? When we're sampling, we're looking to see if we have any further interest in someone. If we don't, we move on. Second is dabbling. So I want you to think about this in a circular fashion rather than a linear fashion. And also we can go from one to the next and back again. So think about this in a circle, and sampling we'll put up here at the top. Then next we'll put dabbling. Dabbling is somebody's demonstrated an interest in you, and it could be emotional, it could be intellectual, it could be sexual. Maybe they're attracted to you, maybe they just want to know if they're having an attraction grow with you. So what they start doing at this point is you're seeing each other more and more. The duration of your dates is extending and increasing. And the longevity of those dates is also increasing. So you're moving to things like a 1-month time span. And during this 1-month time span, they could still be sampling with other people. You don't know. You could still be sampling with other people. But you've moved beyond just observing someone to now you have an interest in them and you want to see if that interest grows. So what you do is maybe you start kissing, you start touching more, you start spending more time on the phone or chatting or talking throughout your day, these kinds of things. And this is also the stage where for those people who haven't experienced a lot, they start dabbling with some of the people that they've been sampling. So, for example, someone's never had a bisexual experience. Now they're dating, they're looking for a relationship, but maybe they never had that bisexual experience. So while they're dating you, they go out and do that with other people. This is one of those things about dabbling. And dabbling is also what I would call experimenting. So we've moved beyond just, I see you, you sample, you like what you see. Now you're dabbling, you're experimenting. You're trying to see if this has possibility for relationships or not. Then we move on to something that I haven't really come up with a concept or a name for yet. Maybe you guys can help me out on this. But I think what we talked about earlier was calling it a hold. It's almost like a hold. They haven't gotten exclusive with you, but they are trying to maintain your interest. They are trying to maintain their dabbling with you. And maybe they are trying to find out if a long-term relationship is possible. So they could still go back to sampling. They can still continue to dabble, but they have your attention and they're clearly trying to keep it. There's various ways that people do this, and when we get to beyond hold, okay, so say it's been a little longer than a month, this person hasn't said, I want to be exclusive with you. You haven't said, I want to be exclusive with them. However, there is something in place there that is making it more than just sampling. So, after this, I'm going to call it hold period, and I'm not implying that anyone has control over you or vice versa. I don't want you to get the misunderstanding that these are definite things and that they're universal across everyone. That's not what I'm getting at. But the next phase that we move to is green grassing. And green grassing, I think, is probably the most insidious, just because it can be the most harmful psychologically for people. Because someone has sampled them, someone has dabbled with them, maybe it's gotten physical, or you've met their parents, or you've met some of their friends and these kinds of things. You feel like it's going somewhere, but the person's kind of keeping you in this holding area. But when they're green grassing is when it's most toxic, because what they're doing is looking for someone who is of a higher status. Maybe they don't think you're good looking enough. Maybe they don't think you're smart enough. Maybe they don't like your friends or what you do for work. They're not sure if you're going to integrate into their life as they would integrate into your life. So that becomes problematic, because they will start doing things like leaving you hanging for long periods of time. They'll disappear for long periods of time, and you're wondering, what's going on with this person? I can't understand this. So this is when clients are coming to me and saying, I just don't know what's going on. He's spending a lot of time with other people. He tells me he has to work all the time. But then what they will also do is they will come back and give you just enough attention to make you feel like it's moving beyond the dabbling phase. Okay? So when you're looking for long-term relationships, these are some of the challenges that you encounter. When you're doing online dating, some of the other factors that I've talked about in my previous videos, the technology, the pandemic, the oversaturation of people, the pure amount of choice we have. Some people call that convenience. It's become too convenient to date with too many choices, and so it may be moving people away from these long-term relationships. So if you're going through these kinds of things, and you can say to your friend when you're having a conversation with them, well, you know, I started talking to someone, but I think they're still sampling, or I'm still sampling. You can say, I've been talking to this person, and it seems like it could go somewhere. I really like them, but we're just at this dabbling stage right now. Or I think they're dabbling with other people, right? They're seeing other people. I'm seeing other people. So there are ways that this occurs naturally, and it only becomes a problem when it's leaving you with those giant question marks. And some of these terms, I hope you'll be able to use to talk with people and identify and say, I think it's sampling. I think it's dabbling. I think this person is green grassing me. I'm not feeling good enough. I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling depressed about this. Those are some things to think about when we're talking about sampling or nibbling, dabbling or experimentation, and green grassing which is they kind of have a hold on you, but maybe they're looking elsewhere. So that's everything wrapped up in a nutshell, which is in green grass, which is greener than the rest of the grass that you've seen. Thanks for joining me today on Practically Social. Next time we'll come back with some solutions and self-care options if you're experiencing sampling, dabbling, or green grassing. And I hope you watch this video each time all the way through. That would really help me out. If you haven't already liked, commented, or subscribed, please hit that down there at the bottom. And I look forward to seeing you again next time.